General Audience number 132 of November 21st, 1984. On the background of the teaching of Humanae Vitae, we intend to trace an outline of conjugal spirituality. In the spiritual life of the spouses, also the gifts of the Holy Spirit are at work, and in particular, the donum pietatis, that is, the gift of reverence for that which is God's work. This gift, united with love and chastity, helps one to identify in the whole of conjugal shared life the act in which, at least potentially, the spousal meaning of the body is linked with the procreative meaning. It guides one to understand, among the possible manifestations of affection, the singular and even exceptional meaning of that act, its dignity, and the consequent grave responsibility connected with it. Therefore, the antithesis of conjugal spirituality is constituted in some sense by the subjective lack of such understanding, connected with anti-conceptive practices and mentality. In addition to everything else, this is an enormous harm from the point of view of the inner culture of the human person. The virtue of conjugal chastity, and even more so, the gift of reverence for that which comes from God, shapes the spirituality of the spouses for the sake of protecting the particular dignity of the act, of this manifestation of affection, in which the truth of the language of the body can be expressed only by safeguarding the procreative potential. Responsible fatherhood and motherhood imply the spiritual appreciation in conformity with the truth of the conjugal act in the consciousness and the will of both spouses, who, after considering the inner and outer circumstances, in particular the biological ones, express in this manifestation of affection their mature readiness for fatherhood and motherhood. Reverence for the work of God contributes to ensuring that the conjugal act is not diminished and deprived of interiority in the whole of conjugal life, that it does not become routine, and that there be expressed in it an appropriate fullness of personal and ethical contents, as well as religious contents, that is, veneration for the majesty of the Creator, the only and ultimate depository of the source of life, and for the spousal love of the Redeemer. All of this creates and enlarges, so to speak, the interior space of the mutual freedom of the gift, in which the spousal meaning of masculinity and femininity is fully manifested. The obstacle against this freedom lies in the inner constraint of concupiscence directed toward the other eye as an object of enjoyment. Reverence for what God has created frees one from this constraint, frees one from all that reduces the other eye to a simple object. It strengthens the interior freedom of the gift. This can be realized only through a deep understanding of the personal dignity of both the feminine and the masculine eye in reciprocal shared life. This spiritual understanding is the fundamental fruit of the gift of the Spirit that impels the person to reverence for the work of God. It is from this understanding, and thus indirectly from this gift, that all the effective manifestations that form the fabric of the stability of conjugal union draw true spousal meaning. This union is expressed through the conjugal act only in some circumstances, but it can and should be manifested continually, every day, through the various effective manifestations that are shaped through the power of a disinterested emotion by the other eye in relation to femininity and reciprocally in relation to masculinity. The attitude of reverence for the work of God, which the Spirit stirs up in the spouses, has an enormous significance for those effective manifestations, because it goes hand in hand with the capacity for profound pleasure in, admiration for, disinterested attention to the visible, and at the same time, invisible beauty of femininity and masculinity, and finally, a profound appreciation for the disinterested gift of the other. All of this is decisive for the spiritual identification of what is male and female, of what is bodily and at the same time personal. From this spiritual identification emerges the awareness of union through the body under the guidance of the interior freedom of the gift. Through effective manifestations, the spouses help each other to remain within the union, and at the same time, these manifestations protect in each of them that deep-rooted peace. See Theology of the Body, Audience 13, Paragraph 1, Audience 27, Paragraph 4, and Audience 110, Paragraph 2, which is in some way the inner resonance of chastity, guided by the gift of reverence for what God has created. This gift brings with it a deep and all-encompassing attention to the person in his or her masculinity or femininity. thus creating the interior climate suitable for personal communion. Only in such a climate of personal communion between spouses can the procreation that we qualify as responsible mature in the right way. Humanae Vitae allows us to draw an outline of conjugal spirituality. This is the human and supernatural climate in which, bearing in mind the biological order and at the same time on the basis of chastity, sustained by the Donum Pietatis, the inner harmony of marriage is formed with respect to what the encyclical calls the twofold meaning of the conjugal act. Humanae Vitae, paragraph 12. This harmony means that the spouses live together in the inner truth of the language of the body. Humanae Vitae proclaims the inseparability of the connection between this truth and love.